Hare Harinam Tava Harinam Hare English translation. O wicked mind, what kind of Vaishnava do you think you are? Your pretentious show of chanting Lord Hari's holy name in a solitary place is only for the sake of attaining the false prestige of worldly reputation. It is nothing but pure hypocrisy. Such materialistic prestige is as disgusting as the stool of a hog. Do you not know that it is only a mere illusion cast by the potency of Maya? What is the value of contemplating day and night your plans for enjoying wealth and woman? All these things are only temporary. When you claim wealth as your own, it creates in you a ever increasing desire for material enjoyment. Your riches should be used for the serving Madhav, the Lord of the wealth. Neither it is your proper place to indulge in lust for a woman whose only true proprietor is Lord Yadav. The demon Ravan, lust incarnate, fought with Lord Ramchandra, love incarnate, in order to gain the tree of worldly reputation. But that oasis turned out to be but a mirage cast in the desert wasteland of the Lord's illusory material potency. Please cultivate fixed determination to attain only the steady and solid platform whereupon a Vaishnava ever stands. If you neglect worshipping the Lord from this position, then you will ultimately attain the hellish existence. Why do you endlessly suffer the torment of blaspheming the devotees of the Lord Hari, attempting to achieve their eminence, thereby only providing your own fruitless foolishness? The desire for spiritual eminence is easily fulfilled when one becomes a devotee of Lord. For eternal fame automatically follows the heels of the Vaishnava, and that fame is never to be considered a temporary worldly opulence. The relationship between the devotee and the Lord Hari is devoid of even a trace of worldly illusion. It has nothing to do with materialistic cheating propensity. The prestige of so-called popularity in the material realm is compared to a treacherous dog-eating witch, and the attempt to live in the solitude to supposedly engage in unalloyed bhajan in compared to an entangling network of distraction. Please know that anyone striving in either of these ways verily lives in the hell of Maya's illusion. I shall give up chanting the Lord's name publicly in kirtan and retire to solitude, thus smearing myself with a worldly honor. Dear mind, what is the good of seeking such a so-called glory? I will always remind you that a great soul Mahavendra Puri never deceived himself in that regard by committing theft in his own storehouse of perception the way you do. Your cheap reputation is equal to the stool of a hog. An ordinary ambitious man like you can never be equated with a devotee of Mahavendra Puri's eminence. Under the sway of envy, you ever drowned yourself in the filthy waters of material enjoyment after having abandoned the excellent perfection of congregational kirtan. Truly, O wicked mind, the glories of the so-called solitary worship are propagated only by false yogis using unscrupulous means to deceive others. To save yourself from these pitfalls, please contemplate the instructions that the Supreme Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu kindly gave us while addressing Srila Sanatana Goswami with the utmost care. Do not forget for a moment, that the two most valuable concepts that he taught. One, the principle of dry, apparent renunciation as opposed to the real, appropriate renunciation, and the principle of soul being trapped in the bondage of matter as opposed to the soul who is liberated. Don't ever make the mistake of thinking that these conflicting concepts are on same level. Please remember this while engaging yourself in the chanting the Lord's holy name as loud as possibly can. One is truly a Vaishnava who has given up the habit of falling victim to the ferocious tigress of wealth, beauty, and fame. Such a soul is factually detached from material life and is known as a pure devotee. Someone with this consciousness of detachment has thereby become victorious over the mundane world of birth and death. One is indeed detached who moderately partakes of worldly things that are deemed necessary for living in the devotional service. A devotee acting in that manner does not fall prey to disease of material infatuation. Thus, devoid of selfish attachment and endowed with the ability to see things in relation to the Lord, all sense objects are then directly perceived as being Lord Madhav himself. This is the standard of befitting renunciation, and one who realizes this is most fortunate indeed. Everything involved in such a devotee's life represents Lord Hari's personal spiritual opulence as manifest in the world of matter. On the other hand, one who engages in chanting the Lord's name with hopes of enhancing his own material reputation finds that all his activities and paraphernalia represents only the riches of hypocrisy. O mind, please reject the company of two type of person, those desiring impersonal liberation from the material world and those who desire to enjoy the pleasure of the material sense objects. Both of these are equally non-devotees. The things that are used in relation to the Lord Krishna are objects belonging directly to the transcendental realm, and thus having nothing to do with matter. They cannot be either owned or forsaken by a person interested in mundane enjoyment or renunciation. An impersonal philosopher is opposed to thinking of Krishna as an object of devotion, and thus being puffed up with the false prestige, false pride of imaginary liberation, he dares to criticize the true devotees of the Lord. O mind, you are the servant of the Vaishnavas, and you should always hope for attaining devotion. Why then do you make such a loud commotion by calling to me and trying to prove the supposed supremacy of your practice of solitary worship? One who falsely gives up things that could actually be used in the Lord's service proudly calls himself a renunciate, but unfortunately, he can never become a Vaishnava by such an attitude. Abandoning this servitorship to the lotus feet of the Lord Hari and resigning himself to his solitary home, whatever is gained by that exercise can only be the worthless treasure of deception. Ever engage yourself in the service of Sri Radha and keep aloof from the vicious snake of materialistic sense gratification. The glory of the participating in the Lord's Kirtan is not meant to bolster anyone's ambition for personal recognition. O mind, why then have you abandoned the identity of being Radha's eternal servant in the favor of retiring to the solitary place to practice the cheating process of so-called bhajan? The most valuable treasure among the Lord's creatures are the eternal personalities residing in the Vrajadham. They never occupy themselves with begging of worthless material reputation, which is cherished only by the living dead. The Vrajavasis are truly infused with life, and therefore they preach in order to give life to the walking corpses of the mundane world. All the songs that the Vrajavasis sings about the glories of Lord Krishna are devoid of any tinge of desire for fame. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, servant of Radha and her beloved Krishna, always hopes for kirtan, and he begs all to loudly sing the names of Lord Hari. The transcendental power of congregational chanting automatically awakens remembrance of the Lord and his divine pastimes in relation to one's own eternal spiritual form. Only at that time it becomes possible to go off to solitary place and engage in the confidential worship of their lordships. Shri Srimad Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Om Jnana-timirandasya Jnana-shalaakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Sadantilam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Udaya Padmanam Shri Guru Vaishnavam Vishram Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sarvagana Raghunatham Kritam Sajivam साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान् सहगणा ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिधि नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशधारिणे नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिसिद्धान्त सरस्वती इति नामिने श्रीवासवानरी देवी दयिताय कृपाब्धये कृष्ण संबंध विज्ञान दायिने गुरवे नमः माधुर्य माड्य श्री रूपानुगभक्तिदा श्री गौर करुणा शक्ति विग्रहाय नमोस्तुते नमस्ते गौरवाणी श्रीमूर्तये दीनतारिणे रूपानुग विरुद्धाय संतहारिणे नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामिने गौरतिषे नमः हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्ता श्रीराधा नमोस्तुते तप्तकाञ्चन गौरांगी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी कृष्णानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Today is a very, very auspicious day. Today is the most auspicious disappearance of Sri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur. Srila Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur is very much known as Simha Guru. And what bhajan we just sang, it gives a lot of deeper insight to the other aspect of the personality of Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur. One of the aspects of Vaishnava, it is mentioned in the scriptures, Vaishnava says that he is Kusumadapi, Komalam and Vajradapi Kathora. So he is a more powerful, like a thunderbolt, and he is as soft like a lotus flower. So this is very contradictory in one way, no? कैसे हो सकता है? How it is possible? Two things simultaneously. तव कर कमल वरे नखाम अद्भुत श्रृंगाम. Kamala, तव कर कमल. Hands are like lotuses. नखाम अद्भुत श्रृंगाम. उसके ऊपर जो नख है, it's very, very piercing, no? So on one hand is very soft, another hand is very, very ferocious. So just like all contradictions can be resolved in the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Similarly, all contradictions can be resolved in the pure servants of Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishna is unlimited, Vibhu, but he is also Anu. Whole Brahmandas are within Krishna, and Krishna is in the atom of every Brahmanda and in between the atoms of Brahmanda also. It's very difficult to conceive and understand, but this is what is the actual position of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and his pure devotees. So, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur just to give a small life sketch about him. He was born in a Karka Lagna, crab. So he used to say, anyone talks about any asampradayic thing, I will catch him like a crab. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur on one hand was very accommodative, very adjustive to the different people. He studied whole Quran, he studied whole Bible, and then he was also interact with so much foreigners. He was very open in terms of adjusting the different personalities. Whereas Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was completely opposite nature. He would not tolerate anything. Even within Sampradaya, something is bogus is going on, then he will just reject it all. In his childhood, when he was a small child, one sadhu came to his house, Bhaktivinoda Thakur's house, and he was singing some bhajan. He was singing Nirankara Tomara Charana Dekhi. So he questioned. He was a small child. He said, if you are calling him Nirankar, then how can you catch his lotus feet or feet? Huh? So it was very clever, very intelligent, very sharp in his attitude. So his childhood name was Bimal Prasad, and he was born as a ray of Vishnu. When Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he was in search of spiritual quest, and he was very much impressed by the Britishers at one point of time, and then he studied Bible also, and then he found a lot of meaning to it, no? But somebody suggested him that you should also read Chaitanya Charitamrita. And when he studied Chaitanya Charitamrita, that time he found, my God, what a treasure is lying, and then I am looking for something which is, there in my own culture and custom. Then he become very clear about this philosophy of Krishna consciousness. So I was trying to speak on childhood pastime of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So when he was trying to preach, when he understood the philosophy of Krishna consciousness and he was trying to propagate, then he felt that there is a really need to change the whole world, because Vaishnava, he becomes very unhappy to see people are unhappy. Paradukha dukhi. So when he saw the whole world is suffering, not only adhyatmic, adhibhautik, adhidevic kleshas, but they are also suffering from the misconceptions which are devolving their existence as a servant of the Lord. So he was very concerned, and therefore he was intensely praying to Lord that, my dear Lord, please send me one ray of you, who will help me propagate Krishna consciousness in the whole world. And when he was intensely praying, Bhaktivinoda Thakur had 10 sons and daughters. So when Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur appeared in the Jagannath Puri Dham, he appeared in Jagannath Puri Dham, and when Rath Yatra was going on, the Rath cart stopped in front of his house. And then immediately Bhagavati Devi took her small child to the Rath cart, and when he went there, and then the pujaris, pandas, they took the child, started giving blessings, the Jagannath's garland fell, and the puja immediately put it in this Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur. So that time Bhakti Vinod Thakur understood that he is the ray of Krishna. And it was very evident from his small life only, lifespan. He understood and learned whole astrology at the age of 7 only. And he created his own lipi, Bikanto, Devanagari lipi, and different lipis are there. Like that, he invented his own lipi called Bikanto. And at the age of 7, he completely remembered Bhagavad Gita as it is. And at the age of 7 only, he started speaking on Bhagavad Gita. So what is the age? 7 years means he was in the first standard or second standard. That time only he was knowing all verses. He was so inspired in brahmacharya life that he started Chir Kumar Sabha. Chir Kumar matlab were brahmacharis, Chir Kumar Sabha. But it is said many joined him, but afterwards he was the only person who remained. Chir Kumar Sabha. In his astrology, he was so expert, so powerful, that in 1897, the Vice Chancellor of University in Kolkata, they told, by seeing his expertise, he said that the seat of astrology is vacant in our university. You can come and take it. But he don't wanted to give so much importance to that. He did not accept it. But it was kept in his name as honorary chair, that Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur is the person for that chair. So he was a very, very powerful person. He took initiation from Gaur Kishodas Babaji Maharaj. And Gaur Kishodas Babaji Maharaj, from the material standard, he was completely illiterate. He was not knowing even to how to write his own name, Gaur Kishodas Babaji Maharaj. But Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, on the other hand, he created his own lipi at the age of 7. And he was such an intelligent personality. He knew so many languages and was so expert. But when he wanted to take Diksha from Bhaktivinoda Thakur said it will not be a very good standard, because I am father also. So it will become like a lineage, family lineage only. He said, no, you should take Diksha from Gaur Kishodas Babaji Maharaj, is a very exalted personality. And then Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur went to Gaur Kishodas Babaji Maharaj for initiation. When he went for initiation, he said, I will check with Lord Gaura, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, I will check with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Then next time again when he said, did you check with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? He said, oh, I forgot only to ask you. Like that, Gaur Kishodas Babaji Maharaj was testing him. So it is said 17 times he approached Gaur Kishodas Babaji Maharaj for initiation. and every time he was rejected. So Bhakti Vinod Thakur told him that, what is the use of your life? You cannot take Diksha also properly. So he felt very bad. On one hand, my father wants me to take Diksha, and on other hand, Guru is not giving Diksha only. So he said a kind of a suicidal. Better I commit suicide. There is no point in living like a dead. Better I give up my life like that. But when Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur's determination was observed by Bhaktivedanta Babaji Maharaj, then he just gave him initiation. He was such an elaborate personality that he did not need any rituals also. He just took a sand, some Ganga Mitti, put on him and told him that your name is Shri Varshabhanavi Devi Daitaya Das. So, Varshabhanavi Devi, who is that? And Daita means servant and very dear servant. Very dear servant. So, Bhaktisiddhanta Babaji Maharaj gave that name. And his name was Bimal Prasad because Jagannath Ji's first Raj Bhoga or Bhoga goes to the Bimla Devi in the Jagannath temple. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur named his name as Bimal Prasad, is the Prasad of Jagannath. And it is said that in his life, whenever he got Jagannath Mahaprasadam, he used to do Pradakshina of Prasadam first. That was such a commitment to the Mahaprasad. From 1900 to 1905, for almost 5 to 6 years, he extensively traveled in Odisha and observed that there are a lot of misconceptions about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's philosophy, even in Navadip also and these places. So he took it as a mission to expose it all. What is that? Pranati mantra we sing? Shri Murtaye Tintarini Apasiddhanta Dvantahari. So anywhere you will see any Apasiddhanta, he will immediately smash it down. He will not allow anybody to speak something wrong. So this was one of the very big contribution of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur in our parampara actually. Of course, there are many other Vaishnavas, but when Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur came, by that time there were so many upper sampradayas, different upper sampradayas coming from different. Like first time Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was there, and when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu left, there are many people who saw Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, observed Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, started following Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Odisha as well as in Bengal. So they all understood Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in their own ways, and then they started propagating their own understanding in different ways. So there are 13 upper sampradayas mentioned in Chaitanya Charitamrita, and all the sampradayas, some of them are still there in Odisha. You find it when you go there. But they all upper sampradayas created a lot of hodgepodge, lot of issues. People would confuse what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu exactly want to give, because there are so many different versions of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's philosophy coming down the line. But our acharyas like Bhaktivinoda Thakur or Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, they stick to the principles of Rupananda Raghunatha or Shaivya Goswamis. Shri Rupa Sanatana Bhatta Raghunatha, Shri Jiva Gopala Das Raghunatha. And they precisely gave us that proper philosophy what we are supposed to practice and follow. So that is one of the unique contribution of Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, that he cleared up the mess. When he went to Radhakund, in Radhakund he saw that there are many so-called Vaishnavas who are trying to practice the very high stage of Babaji. Babaji Vesh matlab somebody is brahmachari, grahastha, vanaprastha, sannyas, and after that he takes Babaji Vesh. And when he takes Babaji Vesh, he is like completely beyond the varnashram. So he doesn't fall in varnashram, he has transcended the varnashram and he is taking to the chanting of the holy name, and it completely depends on that. Just like we hear the position of Madhavendra Puri. Madhavendra Puri was completely Ajagara Vritti Sannyasi. He was completely dependent on the Lord and used to chant only the holy name of the Lord. So he will travel from place to place and chant the holy name. If somebody gives him something to eat, he will take. If not, he will not take that also. That's how when he came to Govardhan, and even he was very close to Govinda Kund, that time he was just chanting, sitting and chanting. So the Brajavasi ladies, they understood, that this personality is Sadhu Baba, is chanting from so many days, not eating anything. Then Lord Krishna, by seeing that, Krishna only brought milk, pot of milk. So that kind of Babaji. But these Babajis who were there in Vrindavan, in Radhakund, in Govardhan, they were externally following the practice of Babaji, but internally they were not so pure. Their minds were not pure, and even sometimes their activities also not pure. So Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur became very, very concerned about it. And when he went to Radhakund, he said this Radhakund is no more a Radhakund. He said this is a Narakund. So to somebody calling Radhakund as a Narakund, really Acharya like Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur only can say like that. And people were fearful about him. In fact, I heard that I will not mention the name of that another sadhu, but he was going on the street of Jagannath Puri and he saw that other sadhu coming from other side. When that person saw Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur, so he felt that I will show my Ashtasattva Vikar. So he started calling Krishna, Radhe, and Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur understood that he is doing imitation. He went and slapped him. Stop this nonsense. So much so that when he was in Jagannath Puri in Odisha, and he would not tolerate any kind of nonsense. But Bhaktivinoda Thakur was very much respected in the whole Vaishnava community. So all these Vaishnavas used to come and complain to Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Hey, थोड़ा समझाओ ज़्यादा बोलता है ये like that. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur told him that what he told him, that either you try to mix with these people or you try to tone down how to adjust with the society, because he was not able to do that. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur told him that you should chant the holy name now. Then he started chanting holy name for a long time. So 1905 he started chanting how many rounds every day? 190 rounds. We chant 16 rounds minimum. But he used to chant 190 rounds at Yogpit and Chaitanya Gaudiya Math. And he used to so absorb, even sometimes rain will come, he will not bother to go and sit somewhere and find a good place. He will just open the chhata, umbrella, and just chant Hare Krishna. Even his heart was dripping, but he was not concerned about making it proper. He was so much absorbed in chanting the holy name. And during those times, this kind of chanting he continued for from 1905 to 1911, 6, 7.